Hello and welcome to the Mason College Access Network, Oceana College Access Network, and Lunch Manistee Network College Q&A session with Hope College. Today, Nate Haveman is joining us from Hope, and he's going to share with you about the wonderful offerings that Hope has for our seniors, class of 2021 in Mason, Oceana, and Manistee counties. So Nate, thank you so much for being with me today. I'm so excited to hear about what Hope has to offer.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to have the opportunity to do it this way with so many schools being able to watch. Yeah, so Hope College, I threw my stuff on screen here. So if students or parents, if you do have questions, please take a moment to jot down or pause the recording. The number is my cell phone. That's most convenient for me if it's convenient for you. And of course, that's my email address, which everyone understands. But let me get right into the Canva here. If you do have questions, obviously it's going to be a little bit different because we're recording this. So please, again, feel free to go back to my email or my cell phone number and just send me the questions that you have direct. That's a lot easier for me. And I would love to answer those for you. So today I'm going to give you just a little bit on academics, student life, and admissions. I'll hit a little of the timeline as well for those of you who are seniors out there. But again, I'm happy to work with you one-on-one. So you don't just need to use this and feel like you've got to learn everything from this 20 to 30 minute presentation. I'm always happy to talk with you one-on-one. So we will cover these three areas today, though. I just think it's worth mentioning. Hope is very well known for academics. Maybe you already know that, but I always think it's worth mentioning. I kind of talk about Hope as a jumbo shrimp. We're certainly not a Michigan State, but we're also not 1,000 students. We have 3,200 students at Hope, which allows us to have a lot of opportunities academically. So we have more than 90 majors and minors for you to choose from, a lot of pre-professional programs as well. So everything from English and philosophy to the hard sciences, biology, chemistry, pre-professional tracks like pre-med. We're very well known for pre-med, pre-OT, pre-AT, those types of things. And then I also included on this slide study abroad because I just feel like as a student myself in the late 90s and early 2000s, one of my largest regrets is not studying abroad, not studying off campus at all. And what an opportunity for students before you are hired on with a company, or before you have a family, or before all of these things happen. Man, take that time during college and spend 3 months in a different community. Could be something domestic. Hope has a strong presence in Chicago, Philly, DC, Denver, or it could be somewhere completely different. Japan, Australia, South America, Africa, Europe, obviously. But I just encourage students, man, take the opportunity while you're in college, whether that's at Hope or somewhere else. Hope has a lot of options. We have 300 plus programs in 60 plus countries. One will work for you. Like, that cannot be the excuse. One will work. So I just encourage a lot of students, hey, just take a look, see if one fits what you want to do, and go from there. But a lot of majors and minors to choose from. So I'm excited to tell you more about those in the future. Hope's a Christian school. For some students, if I was doing this in a high school visit presentation, I'd say, hey, are you excited about that? Are you not excited? Are you somewhat indifferent? Where do you fit on that scale? The way Hope does kind of interact with the faith piece is really invitational. So for students who are very excited about that piece, you'll be well served. And for students who are a little bit more skeptical or wondering, like, what does that mean? I've never gone to a Christian school before. Maybe it's scary, maybe that's too far, but Hope it's invitational. This is a photo of our chapel, and our chapel is big. I mean, it holds 1,200 to 1,400 kids, but you never have to go, which is just so intriguing, or was so intriguing for me as a student all those years ago when I looked at Hope. And to realize that we have chapel Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10:30 to 10:50. So it's just 20 minutes, and this place gets full. It's wild. No student has to go, and yet it's full. So 1,200 to 1,400 students on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. for those 20 minutes is pretty spectacular. That students are choosing to do that. They could be doing anything else. You could be laying on the ground. You could be playing video games. You could be studying, which is also a good option, grabbing a cup of coffee with a friend. But so many students choose to pack in here on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday and hear some stuff. So love that part of Hope. Happy to talk about that in the future one-on-one as well. I think this is an important piece. I included this slide this year, especially just with all the turmoil that's been happening in our country recently. I think it's important to note that in college, you need to be asking big questions. If you're not, I think you're maybe doing it wrong. I think college is a perfect opportunity to really learn the skills of like empathy and what it means to look at life through someone else's perspective, from their perspective, and walk in their shoes a little bit. So with that in mind, I wanted to include these safe and significant spaces, not only the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, which serves so many students, but also the Phelps Scholars Program, which for many of you who are maybe rising juniors or rising seniors in high school, the Phelps Scholars Program at Hope is a living learning community for year one. And so 95 to 100 students are chosen to live in Scott Hall, which is one of our residence halls on campus. And it's living learning. So it's not only are you living in the same place, but you're also taking a class together, at least one class. And then many weekends are actually field trips. And I don't mean like field trips to the museum down the road, reenacting the Underground Railroad, visiting a mosque in Detroit, visiting a Baptist church, potentially like in Chicago, Native American powwow. So a lot of things to spur conversation, which again is sort of the idea in a main tenet of just college in general. And that's not just Hope, but just college in general is an opportunity to really ask big questions of each other and learn where other people are coming from. So that's a big part of Hope's campus, and I would love for you to interact with that in some way while you're a student or while you're visiting or learning more about what we have to offer at Hope. Some students are interested in athletics. When I was a student, I grew up just down the road from many of you in Fremont. So I went to Fremont High School, played 3 sports in high school. Didn't choose to play any at Hope. I'm not sure I could have made the team. I like to think I could have made a team. Probably not. Let's just be honest here. But I think what's great about Hope is it's, like I said, it's big enough. You know, we're not Michigan State. You will know the people on all the teams, whether you decide to play or try out or not. You'll know people on the teams. And so you'll have class with them. They'll live down the hall. You'll like to go support them is kind of what I'm getting at. They'll like to support you if you're on the field or on the court. I loved that community aspect of Hope when I was a student here at Hope in 98 to 2002 was when I was a student here. So that's big. And then if you're not sure about varsity athletics, like I wasn't, I did intramurals. So I did everything from like ultimate frisbee golf, flag football, racquetball, anything you can imagine, we likely have. And what a way to meet people. For me, it was a way to stay a little bit competitive and in shape because I did eat a lot at the dining halls. There's so much good food. When Lucky Charms is always there in the dining hall, I would just eat it for all the meals. Like that's how I would end every meal, was Lucky Charms. But the competitive nature of intramurals for me was really fun and something I look back fondly on for my time at Hope. We have a lot of varsity athletics. So we have, I think 11 of each. So from women's sports and men's sports. So everything from lacrosse to football to cross country, swimming, all the big ones we have available to you. This is one of my favorite slides to pull up on a Canva. It's unfortunate that I can't see your face as you look at this, if you are viewing this, because this kid looks a little bit crazy, I get it. But this is obviously a picture of the pole, which I have listed down below. Some of our big traditions at Hope, two of the biggest are the pole and Nykirk. The pole is, again, a great way to meet people, something we've been doing for over 100 years. It's a tug of war. Essentially, it's a tug of war, but it's, oh my goodness, it's so much more. It's a 3-hour tug of war across a river. So you have 18 pullers, freshmen on one side, and 18 pullers, sophomores on the other side. So it's even year essentially versus odd year, and coached by the upperclassmen. And so it's 3 weeks of training. I did this, so it's near and dear to my heart. But it's 3 weeks of training early on in your time at Hope, freshman year and sophomore year, that culminates in this 3 hours of community. People come out, pullers and moralers from decades past come out to cheer on their teams. And so it's this kind of melding of generations, which is a cool way to experience Hope as well. And something that's been featured like on David Letterman back in, like, when David Letterman was on, obviously, at the craziest college traditions, this is certainly up there. And then Nightcirk is another fun one we can talk about at another time, but that's a song, kind of like a song, a play, and an oration or a speech. And again, it pits the freshmen versus the sophomores, which is kind of a fun way to make new friends, certainly. I'd be remiss if I didn't say you should be involved when you go to college. You shouldn't just go to class and then go back to your residence hall and study. That's great. I want you to do those things. I want you to do well academically. But again, in the same same vein, where I want you to have these big conversations that you can have in college, I want you to push out and be busy in college. I think it's a great reminder for students when you leave college, you're entering a community and you're supposed to make that community better. That's the ideal. The ideal is that you make a community better. And a lot of times that's through work and through job or vocation. And oftentimes it's going to be things that are outside of that. It's coaching, it's joining a civic organization, just learning how to be a leader, if that's what you're called to do. So Hope has a lot of those opportunities. I would love for students to join one or two. It feels like most students are like, that sounds cool. Oh, let's do this one. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks in, they've joined 12 organizations, and their life is they're freaking out because they're over involved. And so it's a balance. But I do think giving yourself the opportunity to have some leadership roles in college, maybe to fail a little bit in those leadership roles, allows you to be better at them later. And that's maybe the point I'm trying to make. So yeah, push out, get some opportunities. Hope has everything. I used to be able to do all of the S's, all the student organizations that started with S. So it's like sewing club, swing dancing, sailing. But now I'm just stuck with those three. There are a lot more that start with S. I just can't remember them. But a lot of things to be involved with, including like Greek life, which is very big at Hope as well. From a timeline perspective, those of you who are seniors or rising juniors or rising seniors who are wondering what this process looks like for Hope, it's not too terribly different from many schools that you'll likely be looking at. We are a Common App school, so if you're not familiar with Common App, talk with your counselor or shoot me an email or a text. But the Common Application is an application that's used by about 800 colleges across the country. It allows you to fill out all the basic information once, which is pretty handy. As you'll realize, if you've not filled out applications already, it gets tedious. So that's nice to have that opportunity. And then for Hope, we'll have a November 1 or an early November deadline that we work with, and we'll have a lot of our applications will come in by that deadline, 70% probably at Hope. The next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about scholarships and financial aid. And that'll kind of fall between this 11-1 and 5-1, this May 1st. But I wanted to include the 5-1 as sort of a national decision day. You don't have to make a decision until then. So you don't get anything special at Hope for telling me as soon as you find out you've been accepted. You don't get better food. You don't get a cooler roommate, better classes. Take your time. Make sure Hope is the place you want to, the place that you want to spend the next 4 years, and then make your decision. But you don't need to rush into anything. You have until that May 1st deadline to really determine if this is the place for you, which I wish was said more often. This is a stressful process for pretty much every kid, whether it's like internal and it's just like bubbling all the time, or it's external and you're freaking out. That's okay. Like, that's the college search. It's a big decision, but it'll be fine. Like, you're gonna find a place, find a home. So take your time. ask the big questions and feel okay about it. I just mentioned this a second ago, but obviously financial aid is a big deal. Hope does a great job of making college affordable. One of the ways we do that is with need-based aid, and that's going to be FAFSA related. So that goes live October 1st each year. If you have questions about that, obviously chat with your counselor, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. We can talk through that specifically for your situation. And then we'll send out financial aid packages for Hope the first week of February most years. So if you're able to get your financial aid done, kind of your family's financial aid done early October, you'll have something in hand just a couple of months later, letting you know how much Hope will cost. Between those two dates, which I just realized I forgot to add, right around Christmas time or the new year, so January 1st, we'll send out merit scholarships. And I should have included that, that's my fault. But we'll have those if you're scholarship eligible at Hope. Generally speaking, if you're around a 3.5, very generally speaking, if you're around a 3.5, you'll be scholarship eligible. But again, I can get into the details and get into the weeds with you about your own scholarship package if that'd be helpful. Shoot me a text, shoot me an email. I can't say it enough times, obviously. I think the next slide is my favorite slide. I hope I have that right in my head, how I built this. But you're likely, as I said a second ago, you're bubbling beneath the surface is a bit of stress as it pertains to this process. And I think in doing this for the last 6 years, what I've come to realize is that everyone's looking for sort of the same thing if you break it down. And this is cliche, I get it, don't care, doesn't make it less true. You're looking for a place to be for the next 4 years. That's what you're really looking for, whether it's a big school or a small school, whether it's around the corner or it's a plane ride away. Whether you could play sports there or not, whether you could stay involved in musically or theater, whatever it is, you're still looking for a place to be. And I think if you're distilling all those things, it comes down to just 3 questions that I've come up with the last couple of years that I want to kind of encourage you to ask yourself as you're doing these types of visits, these Q&A sessions, whether you're on campus or you're talking to friends who are at different schools. I think these 3 questions really help crystallize what you're truly looking for, or what I think you should be truly looking for. And it was good. So a place to be pushed in and out of the classroom. I said this at the very beginning of this. I think you need to look for a place where you're going to be pushed, where you can't coast, because when you enter the real world, which we've all heard about a million times, you don't get to coast. You want to make something better. So I think you should be looking for simply a place to grow in college. And so asking yourself, does this college allow me a place to be pushed and a place to grow? That's the first one. Second one, searching for a college to be known. And I don't mean just your name. I mean like beyond the seat you sit in. Look for a college to be known beyond the seat that you sit in. So I'm talking about professors bringing you out for coffee. I'm talking about a mentor, like a true mentor, someone who wants to pour into your life and help you get to whatever's next, whether that's a job or grad school or just talk. Look for a place to be known. That's huge. And the third one, most cliche of all for sure, again, doesn't make it less true, is a place to be transformed. If you roll into college as a 17-year-old freshman or 18-year-old freshman, and 4 years later you graduate and you're about the same person, you did college wrong. You're supposed to be done and be transformed and ready to join a community and make it better. So, and that's high. I know that's a big ask, but that's what you should be searching for. I mean, really looking for a place where you can be transformed in all of these ways: mind, body, spirit. So I think Hope definitely gives you these things, but it's something for you to kind of a framework for you to work from as you visit different schools and ask big questions. Look for a place to be pushed. Just look for a place where you can be pushed. Look for a place where you'll be known. Does this place give me mentors? And the third, is this a place where I'm going to walk out of here 4 years later a better person? That's what I think you should be searching for. Just do your best and ask those big questions. And then finally, I threw this at the front end and the back end, just so you really had it. But my contact info, I hope you feel like you could call me with a question. I'll answer it. I hope you feel like you can shoot me a text. I'll answer all your questions. I'll be brutally honest all the way through. So if that's helpful for you, please do. I would love to be a resource for you as you continue this big search. And that's what I've got for you today. So thanks for watching, and good luck with the college decision.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing so much great information. It really sounds like, just from the way you present Hope, that Hope has a really great relational kind of experience for students who are interested in that.
Yeah. Oh, what a great way to put it. Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely, Jody.
so when I was hearing the number of students on classes, it sounds like students would have maybe a similar experience or even better experience as far as class sizes and the ability to interact with professors than
Yeah.
even their high school.
Yeah, a lot of times it is. Let me be clear, like the average class size is 17. If you're taking
Wow.
like a Gen Chem or a Gen Bio freshman year, that class is going to be capped closer to 50, right? So it's not like all classes will be 17. I don't want to sound disingenuous, but you're going to have a lot of classes at Hope that are 12 kids.
That's really
Sophomore, junior, and senior year especially.
what a great way to learn.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I have just a couple of questions. It sounds like February 1st is the ideal time for students to apply by. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we would love,
Sooner?
I mean, I would say ideally we'd want November 1st.
Okay.
We'll get 70% of our applications by November 1st. Priority filing for FAFSA closer to that February deadline is when I would definitely want to have that information in, though.
And Michigan just restored its tuition grant. Is that something that students can ask about when they work with your financial aid office?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
And we, Hope being a private school, we do have a lot of Hope grant. We'll call them Hope grants. So that's money that we're from our endowment, essentially, that we're able to give students, and would be outside of like a merit scholarship as well.
So when students see
nice.
the number or the cost of tuition, they can expect that working with financial aid, they're going to have a much different cost, and it's going to lower it.
Exactly. Yep. And we get that, Jody. We get that all the time. Sticker shock. I mean, I'm sure a lot of students you work with as well. Private schools are more expensive on the front end. That doesn't mean they're going to be more expensive over the long term. And then, of course, Hope's 4-year graduation rate is so good that students are graduating on time as well. And that's where students a little bit more nuanced. You got to ask that second question. But it's a more nuanced approach to say, oh, and I'll be able to graduate in 4 years, and the networking that comes with that, internships, field placements, that sort of a thing, to really make the Hope degree not as expensive, like just a great degree for students to look at.
Yeah, that extra year can cost a lot if students get tied up in adding and taking extra time. So what a great point to make. Final question I have. I know a lot of students, especially from around here, are wondering, can they bring their cars to campus their first year?
Really ended me with a tough question here, Jody. Yes, you can have a car on campus at Hope. It's an added cost. I think it's $350 per year. And I'll be honest, where Hope is situated, we're 10 minutes from Lake Michigan, and we're 1 block from downtown Holland, which is one of the cuter downtowns you've probably ever been to. Students don't need a car freshman year, certainly. A lot of students choose to bring one, which is okay. I just feel like it sits in a lot for like the whole week because you don't go anywhere. You just go downtown and grab coffees with your friends or go to Jimmy John's. And so you can have a car. I just don't think you have to have one.
Sounds like
certainly not freshman.
A really walkable experience.
It really is. Yeah, it's really walkable.
That's great. Thank you so much, Nate. What a fun experience. It sounds like Hope can bring for students who are interested.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. And I would love to talk to students or counselors too, if they're watching. If I could be helpful, I would like to be. I do love this place. So just want to make it known, get it out there.
Great. If you're watching at home, I'll put Hope's link up in the YouTube description so that you can access that. And you've got contact information for Nate at the beginning and the end of this video. So thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.